Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Lori. Today I wanted to do a video on water and why we are designed with so much water in our physical form and why the earth has so much water on her beyond the scientific reasons for it. The third dimensional scientific reasons are valid reasons, but there's a much bigger perspective as to why. So before I begin, I want to just reiterate that in the process of writing the book I'm writing right now, I am downloading a lot of information or channeling a lot of information from the Galactic Federation of Light. And this is a group of beings from many different consciousnesses that have been assisting the Earth in her evolution since she was created. And so they're providing all this information to me, and it's quite fascinating. It's talking about how the Earth designed herself, how she shifted from a fifth dimension to a third dimension, how she created the entire playground in which we live in, how the human form was designed, how light comes into the human form, light being light beings like you and I, the many different falls from grace that we have taken, how we shift, the many different types of light workers that have come out and come down, and all the different calls that went out. But the thing that I find most fascinating in this book so far is the design of the human. It's miraculous. I mean, the physical design of the human, as we all know, is quite miraculous in terms of the DNA and how cells come together and multiply and multiply and multiply, and how those cells hold the color of our skin, the color of our eyes, how our head's going to be, you know, the ears, everything, the organs. It's just so fascinating, right? But from a bigger, higher perspective, the human form was designed by these beautiful beings of light, which we all came from Source, so we all came from God. So technically you could say we are designed by God, but in terms of the reality of how it was created and designed, it was designed by these beautiful beings, part of the Galactic Federation. And they had to figure out, first they designed the fifth dimensional form, and they had to figure out how to create a fifth dimensional physical form that would hold light, high frequency light. And then when the Earth and humanity fell from grace and moved into a third dimensional existence, they then had to redesign hold on one second. They had to redesign the third dimensional form because it was a denser form. And they had to redesign how the light, the frequency of light was, the light that we are, right? The light beings that you and I are, how they were going to hold inside the physical form. And so they recognized in doing this design from the third dimensional human design that they knew the Earth's intention, which was moving from a third dimensional reality, dimension, frequency, into a fourth and then a fifth. And so that was the intention. That was what was going to happen. And these beings of light understood that that meant that consciousness was going to increase in vibration and frequency, which means that the physical body was going to have to be able to handle that. So even though the physical body was going to be starting in a very low dimensional frequency, very dense third dimensional frequency, it would eventually be able to hold a fifth dimensional frequency by shifting with the consciousness. Okay. And so they recognized that somehow, because they knew that that this consciousness, this evolving consciousness, this shifting into higher states of frequency that we're going through, the way it's done is that light codes, photons, energy from the sun comes in to activate us, to allow us to integrate more light, more energy, more frequency, right? And when we started, we were very, very dense. So they recognized that water was a genius way in which to allow the integration of consciousness or energy or light to more easily move through the physical body. So it was a conduit, so to speak. So you can imagine that although there are many other reasons that scientifically we have water, if we didn't have the amount of water that we have in our system, the ascension process would have taken on a much different form. And it would have been much more challenging for the physical body to begin to and allow for the integration of light. You can imagine it as like a rock. And if you wanted to, this rock was eventually going to turn into more and more light. And as the light's coming down into the rock, right, it's penetrating it, but it's like bouncing. It's like hitting it, but it's like not really getting into the core or even filtrating around the rock. But if you were constantly pouring water on that rock, the light would come in and use that water to sort of move the energy around the rock. And the next thing you know, the energy, the light is moving into the water, and the water is moving all around the rock. Therefore, the energy was moving all around the rock. Without the water, the light would just be hitting the top of it and bouncing off, right? Because of the density of it. So with water, it allows the light to move into and around. Maybe not into in the sense that it actually penetrates, although it might actually go into that rock. But in terms of our bodies, we're already inside the body, right? The water is already inside our bodies. But when the light comes in, the density in which we're holding consciousness, the density of our form, needs the water to allow the light to move through everything gracefully. Otherwise, it would just get stuck, sort of. It'd take a very, very long time. And the amount of light that we're constantly pulling in, and the amount of light it was going to and did take for us to go from a very low third dimensional space to where we are right now and where we're going to continue to go, requires a huge amount of water to move that light through us, through the organs, through the cells, eventually the DNA, right? All of it, the blood. It needs the water to filter it. Not filter it, I shouldn't say filter. It needs the water to move it through, the conduit, so to speak. And that is also why the earth herself has so much water on her. Because the earth is also a very dense, in this reality that we're looking at, okay, right now, not where she is currently in a higher dimension. I'm talking about right now. She is in between a third and fourth dimensional frequency, the same with us, right? Just kind of in that space, moreover in a fourth. But still it's dense. Fourth is still pretty dense, okay, compared to fifth. But she started in a very dense third. Very dense. And she herself was also going to shift, evolution. Her consciousness was going to shift, her energy, frequency, vibration, light. And so the more water she had around her, the easier it was for the light, when the sun was going to come in, the light was going to be activated within her, so she could shift. The more water she had on her, the easier it was for her to digest the light, integrate the light, move the light through and into her. And the interesting piece is that we are mirror images of the earth. We were designed to be able to integrate with her, to be able to shift with her, to be able to match her vibration. So of course we had to be very similar to her in many ways. And water is one of those ways that we are very, very similar to her. So when we are moving through these very powerful, potent times, water, as you're beginning to understand now the huge importance of water, you can begin to recognize really why water is so important. And that's why it's also so important to drink the water that is filtered and holds the highest vibration of its own consciousness. Because that water is integrating with the light that's coming in. So of course you want it to be as pure as possible, holding the highest frequency and vibration. And don't forget, many of us know that water itself is a consciousness. Everything on the earth plane is a consciousness, including obviously water, right? We've all seen that study done where the water molecules shift depending upon because it's consciousness, depending upon the thoughts or the words that are being spoken to it, right? Or because it's a consciousness, it's energy, it's all an energetic exchange. So the water molecules are consciousness. And it's integrating and activating and working with our light as one big whole system. So one of the ways you can tell that you're raising your vibration or raising your frequency is the amount of water you're drinking. That's why it's so important to drink so much water throughout your day. It helps filter the energy, especially if you are processing, healing, clearing denser stuff. So imagine that, right? The more water you have in you, the more you're drinking the water, the easier it will be for that consciousness that's clearing, that density that's clearing, to move through you. And if you've ever noticed or start to notice going forward, when you are meditating or when you are going to a workshop that's being held in a really high frequency, when you're doing some sort of group meditation and you're held in a really high frequency, or you do a huge amount of channeling work, whenever you're in higher vibrational frequencies for a longer amount of time, when you come out of that frequency, move yourself back down into the more mundane third or fourth dimensional frequency, you're going to feel really thirsty. You're going to be so thirsty. That's because of all the light that was moving through you and the frequency, the spin in which that light was going. So the faster it was spinning, right, the more light was moving through, and the more your body is craving for this conduit to assist it. Where's the water? Where's the water? Where's the water? Where's the water? Move it through, move it through, move it through. So if you're noticing yourself, even in your everyday now moment, just feeling more and more thirsty, it's because you're processing and clearing out, and you're bringing in more light. And the more light you bring in, the more water you need to drink. The more water you need to give yourself so it can be the conduit in which it was designed to be. So that's my short little spiel on water and why there is so much water in us. I mean, we're 3/4 water almost, right? More than that, maybe. We're a lot of water, not by mistake. It's a conduit for energy. It's a conduit for frequency. It's a conduit for light. And if we didn't have it, it would be taking a much longer process to shift our consciousness, evolve the consciousness, move into a higher dimensional frequency and state. Interesting, I think. So there you have it. Short video, 15 minutes, less than 15 minutes. But it's a quick little subject that I just wanted to touch base on and just share. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I'm going to do maybe another video right now on the blue avions, or I might save that for another time. But I love you all so much. Thank you for being here. Like this video if you liked it. Share it to those that may resonate with this and want to hear about water and the body. And I look forward to sharing more and more of what's coming through in this book. I love you all so much. Thanks for being here. Bye.